सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा शांति। A few clarifications on the previous yajnas and then we'll go to the yajna. What is self-restraint per se? Since we have been talking about this self-restraint, what is self-restraint? What is self-restraint per se? Self-restraint means, what is self-restraint? Self-restraint means a control. You are not under control. Your impulses decide whatever you want to do. Self-restraint means you have a control. You don't have a control. It is impulse. All that you do is purely impulsive. It means there is no self-restraint. What you want, it ought to be done. That is what lack of self-restraint is. You want to do something, you have no control. There is no, you can't you can't wait, you can't postpone. There is a feverishness, there is an urgency to everything. That is what is known as is it clear? Is the audio very bad? Clear arka? Okay.
Now it's better.
Okay.
Better.
Okay. Are you able to follow? What is self-restraint means? Self-restraint is you practice control for a purpose. Self-control, self-restraint means there is a control, that control for a purpose. You are not able to control because there is no purpose. Or whatever your likes and dislikes is, that seems to be your purpose. Whatever your likes and dislikes are, that seems to be your purpose, and seeking fulfillment is what is happening right. So what is self-restraint per se? Restraining the senses, restraining everything for a purpose. What is the purpose? The goal, the idea. So what is self-restraint per se? Not being impulsive for the goal. Purpose means the goal. Here, goal means the goal of self-realization. This self-restraint per se. With the awareness of the divine, perception has to be converted to yajna. With regard to stimuli and perception, what divine thoughts one should be aware of? We are saying, remember the divine. Question is, what is the way of remembering the divine? What thoughts? When the eyes see a stimuli, what do you see? Your eyes see an object. The eyes see an object. What do you see there? When you look at an object, what do you look in an object? What do you look at it? The qualities, the properties, the nama rupa. When you look at an object, you see the nama rupa, the name, the form, the qualities, the attributes. That's what you see. When you are seeing that, what are you not reminded of? There is something divine. Now, what is that divine and all, you don't know. There is no particular divine thought. There is no particular divine thought. When you look at an object, when you go through a sense perception, when you register a sense perception, you ask yourself, what do you see? உட்கார்ந்து ட்ரை பண்ணணும் இதெல்லாம். When I am seeing, what am I seeing? What do you see? The object. Object na what is to be object? The properties, the name, the name and the form and all. Now when you see the name and form and all that, what happens? What happens? I like it, I don't like it. It is pleasant, it is unpleasant. These are all the reactions. Now what is remembering the divine? There is something beyond the name, the form. There is something beyond the name and the form. When I say there is something beyond the name and the form, I will not get carried away by the name and form. That is what remembrance of the divine is. Able to follow? That is what remembrance of the divine is. Similarly, when you hear a sound, the taste, the touch, wow, whatever be the sense perception, you have the choice. What is the choice? You see the name and the form. You can't see the divine. Remember that. You can only see the nama rupa. You can't see divine at all. You can only see the nama and you can't see divine. Don't think like you can see the divine as a. There is no seeing the divine. You see the name and the form only. When you see the name and the form, you have the knowledge already. What is the name and the form supported by? The name and the form, the changing name and the form is supported by that which is changeless. This mithya is supported by the sat, that awareness. Is not divine. There is no seeing God there. There is no seeing divine means what? You don't see divine as such. You don't see Chaturbhuja Vishnu. You don't see Krishna with the flute. You don't see Lord Shiva. That is not seeing the divine. Remembering the divine means you see the name and the form only. When you see the name and the form, you can get carried away by that name and the form, or you can understand that there is something. There is an adhishtanam that is supporting it. Adhitha, we do this analysis again and again and again. The analysis of mithya and mithyam and satyam. Mithyam and satyam. We keep doing that. So when you register a perception, what is remembrance of the divine means? The name and the form is mithyam. That which supports this mithyam is satyam. When you can bring in that thought, it is remembering the divine. See, otherwise, how many times we say, we always go back thinking, remembering the divine means remembering a form only. We do, because we are so conditioned by it. We are stuck in that. That is why yesterday I said the 12 yajnas is a method to teach you how to analyze. Is the method to teach you how to read the Shastras. Adallan than try through these 12 yajnas. Are you able to follow? So, what is remembering the divine? The question is very good. What is remembering the divine means? You can't see the divine. You can't project a form there. But what do you see? You will only see Nama Rupa. First thing, take it for sure. If you are not seeing Nama Rupa and you are seeing something else, you are hallucinating. When I walk into the house, Ranjani is asking this question. When I walk into the house, instead of seeing Arvindan, if she sees a Vishnu walking in I will be very worried actually. I will not say you have become a great bhakta devotee. I'll be very worried, because you are supposed to see only the name and the form. That's what the reality is. That which is supporting this name and form is the Sat. So when I see a perception, I can see the name and the form, which is the Mithya part of it, and then there is something that is supporting it, which is the Satyam part of it. So I try to remember that there is a Satyam to it. If you don't remember that Satyam supporting this Mithyam will appear to be Satyam. After ensuring that the Mithyam has become Satyam, don't project any Chaturbhuja Vishnu form or flute with Krishna form Allah. It will not work. Or in fact, that's what people are trying. The Mithyam first becomes Satyam. And then on top of it, they try to, on that Mithyam, which they have concluded as Satyam, they put a mask. What mask they put? The mask is of some form. And when you put the mask of some form, don't mistake that to be remembering the divine. It is not remembering the divine. It is only another Nama Rupa. It's only another Nama Rupa. Are you able to follow? It's only another Nama Rupa. That is why we give names, qualities and attributes to God itself. Name and form we give to God also, because Nama Rupa is what is Satyam as far as the senses are concerned. Are you able to follow? It is the knowledge that comes and says anything that has name and form. It can be a good quality or it can be a negative quality. It can be what they call as the Kalyana Guna. Still it is part of the Guna, the name and the form. It is of Mithya only. So remembering the divine as in Satyam. Are you able to follow? Now comes the question, what is that Satyam? Angada humility. Say, I don't know what that Satyam is. Angada humility. Angada bhakti comes. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Nana bhakti vardu. Angada yajna worship vardu. You can't say, tell me what it is, then I will have devotion. Then where is devotion? What is devotion? Devotion means you can't know. Devotion is where you can't know only you need devotion. If you put in a form as in the Shiva with the trident, where is the unknown there? You know it. So where is the devotion after that? You put a crescent moon, you put a cross, or you put a Chaturbhuja Vishnu, you know it. Where is devotion after that? Are you able to follow? So devotion itself means an element of unknowability. That's yajna karma. Are you able to follow? That's why you need to understand it like this. So you need to understand it as it's not a subject of cognition. It's not something that can be cognized. It cannot be cognized in any form. That is what remembrance of the divine means. You don't know what it is. You can't know what it is. And yet you know that there is something. You know something higher. How do you know that there is something higher? Because you have understood this Nama Rupa as Mithya. Other than the analysis again and again. Because you have understood this Nama Rupa as Mithya, and Mithya always has to be supported by something that is Satyam. This Mithya itself presupposes there is something called Satyam. That is why any number of times why we do this analysis, to get this conviction. Are you able to follow? So this is what is known as awareness of the divine. Now this awareness, this definition of awareness of the divine is what all through the 12 yajnas Vidya. For each and every yajna, awareness of the divine and all doesn't change. Remember this. For the entire 10 yajnas, remembrance of the divine means this is the definition of it. Mityam, Satyam. Mityam, Satyam. Mityam, Satyam. Mityam is understandable. Satyam is not understandable. Mityam is understandable. Satyam can be, you can't even say Satyam can be experienced. Satyam is not understandable. Satyam cannot be experienced. Satyam becoming only is possible. For Satyam, there is only one way, and that one way is becoming it. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati is the formula. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So the only way of knowing it is by becoming it. Now, how can you become it? Only when you are constantly thinking about it. As you think, so you become. As you think, so you become. So awareness of the divine means awareness of the the unknowable, the awareness of the unknowable Sat to which you prostrate, bow down mentally. It's an attitude. That is why right through yajna we keep saying it as the remembrance of the divine. Remembrance of the divine. In the Shankara Bhashya, Shankaracharya connects yajna to the word Vishnu straight away. He doesn't call it as an activity. He calls yajna means yajna equals Vishnu, Vishnu equals divine. Remember, so yajna means remembrance of, yajna means the remembrance of the divine. Remembrance of the divine in the sense of Sat, which is unknowable. Then only devotion comes. Devotion comes only when there is an unknowable factor. The moment you give it a name and form and make it known, where is devotion after that? How can you call it bhakti after that? You cannot call it as surrender. Surrender means in relation to the unknown, area of ignorance. The moment you give it a name and form, where is ignorance after that? Are you able to follow? Now work backwards. It's very simple. You believe you know when you give it a name and a form. Or in order to, for the perceptions to become meaningful to you, the first thing you do is to give it a name. Or name kurtada, the perception itself makes sense. When it comes to Satyam, you can't give any name like that. You can't give any name to that. You shouldn't give any name to that. Leave that part open without naming it. The moment you give it a name, what comes along with naming? I know comes in. Ignorance is gone. That's Pratyaksha Pramatla in the Nyaya and the Tarka, where they teach about this epistemology, the science of reasoning, logic and all that. The first lesson that is taught there is name. Why do you give it a name? Only when you name it, you can make some sense out of it. That is why we name everything. Human beings have to name everything. Yeah. Even when cyclone comes, we have to give it a name, no? Even when cyclone comes, we have to give it a name. Even when stars and planets and also we have to give it a name. Because the moment we give it a name, what comes in I know can be said. Yeah, there. So now where Vedanta takes the logic to supralogical, extra logical is the moment you give it a name, it becomes it becomes the subject matter of the intellect. Then it cannot be divine. So in Yajna Karma, when we remember the divine, we don't give it a name. We don't give it a name. We don't give it a form. All that implies here is the name and the form that you see is understood as Mithya. And that Mithyam is supported by Satyam. That's what remembrance of the divine is all about. Think about it. Hmm? Think about it. Hmm? It's very, it's not easy. This itself is very difficult. This itself is too, when I say difficult means the process of thinking. The process of thinking. There is a couple of clarifications. One clarification itself is too much to handle. The rest of the clarifications, as I'm explaining, it will get clarified. What is remembrance of the divine? That is very important to know, because the entire Yajna Karma oda crux adudha. That's why I spent some time elaborating on it. Remembrance of the divine. To quickly summarize the three transactions of life: receipt, reaction, and response. Receipt is of the senses. Receipt belongs to the senses. Reaction belongs to the inner self, the mind and the intellect. So first two yajnas, he spoke about the senses, yajna of perception and yajna of yajna of restraint. Now yajna number 5, which we are studying, is known as the yoga of self-control. It's known as the yoga of self-control. And I said yesterday, one whole verse he dedicates to one yajna. One entire verse is dedicated to one yajna, because it is slightly subtle. Because he's settling, because of him dealing with the subtle body, he has to explain it. He has to explain it that clearly. So what he does, he spends one entire verse on one yajna only. So sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma samyama yogagnav juhvati jnana deepite. Others sacrifice all the functions of the senses and the functions of the vital airs into the fire of yoga of self-control, kindled by wisdom. Now, fire represents the ideal. Fire represents the ideal. What is the ideal? Moksha is the ideal. For that moksha, the ideal, what is the path? Self-control is the path. Now, how to do that self-control? What is self-control means? The functions of the senses and the functions of the vital airs. When he says the functions of the senses and the functions of the vital air, what he means is the mind withdrawal from the mind's withdrawal from all worldly functions. Mind withdrawal from all worldly functions means, what is the difference? There, perception, registration and all that happens. Here, when that perception happens in you, when that perception happens in you means, where does perception happen? Where does finally perception happen? In the mind and intellect. Perception dies in the mind and intellect, and action generates from the mind and intellect. இதெல்லாம் புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். These are all the anatomy of Vedanta. Perception dies in mind and intellect. Action generates from mind and intellect. How do we say perception dies in mind and intellect? Because only when it goes up to the mind, travels through the object travels as it were. Object doesn't travel. Object another இருக்குது. As it were, it travels through the sense organs, through the sense centers, to the mind and intellect, to the subtle body. There it is set. I see, I hear. இது வந்து I see, I hear, I smell, I taste எல்லாம் சொல்ல மாட்டோம். Perception is complete. The perception is completed, instantaneously the reaction starts. See, all this happens at a high speed. See, what we have to understand is, all this happens at such a speed we don't even know this. Just as in the book Vedanta Treatise, he talks about how many calculations happen before you register a site. He says 100 million calculations happen, but it happens at such a speed that we don't even know that many calculations is happening. You need to understand it like this. The perception dies. As soon as the perception dies, reaction starts. Are you able to follow till now? When the reaction starts, what does control means? The reaction doesn't happen. When you say reaction doesn't happen, it's not that you will not know what is happening. The reaction doesn't happen. What does it mean? You hear, you see a sight. You see a sight. What is the reaction to that sight? Perception has died. Now you have registered the sight. What is the reaction to that sight? Ishtam, Anishtam, Priyam, Apriyam. These are all the reactions. What is self-control means? These reactions don't happen. Priyam, Ishtam, Anishtam and all doesn't happen. Then what happens? Registration of perception and corresponding action to the perception. Registration of perception and corresponding action to that perception. Without this Priyam, Apriyam, Ishtam, Anishtam. When this Priyam, Apriyam, Ishtam, Anishtam pair starts, when this reaction happens, what are you actually doing? Priyam, Apriyam, Ishtam, Anishtam is what? Raga, Dvesha. It means the perception has kindled the perception has kindled the Raga, Dvesha. So what is self-control means? The perceptions do not kindle the Raga, Dvesha. The perceptions do not kindle the Raga, Dvesha. Then what does it kindle? The necessary appropriate reaction it kindles, but it doesn't kindle the Raga, Dvesha. If it kindles the Raga, Dvesha, it means you have lost control. If it doesn't kindle the Raga, Dvesha, means you have control. You can practice this control only when the goal is yoga. When can you practice this control? This possibility that you can practice this control only when you have yoga as the idea. Yoga means union with the self. Are you able to follow? Now the perceptions die away in the subtle body. Now these perceptions can kindle raga dvesha, or it can kindle self-control. What kindles the self-control? Knowledge. Intellect, being aware of the goal, doesn't allow the perceptions to doesn't allow the perceptions to kindle the raga dvesha, the mind. It means you are practicing self-control. Are you able to follow till now? This is the technical way of explaining it. Now what happens is, if I do not allow the likes and dislikes to kindle, will it not create frustration? Will it not create frustration? Because I have this likes and dislikes, will it not create frustration? What self-control here means is, likes and dislikes do not drive me to the reaction. What is the reaction part? The contact is the reaction part. The perception enters. The perception enters, kindles the likes and dislikes, and drives me to contact. Are you able to follow? Mango kindles the mango, the perception of mango kindles the desire, and I immediately go on, take the mango and start eating. Now what is control here? The perception by itself will not allow me to, the perception by itself doesn't allow me to react and contact. Then what allows it? Intellect allows it. When the intellect allows it, then you are practicing. When the intellect is allowing the contact to happen, then you are practicing self-control. So two things. One is the perception by themselves do not drive the contact. Intellect, if the intellect understands the necessity to contact, it says contact. Are you able to follow? So it means even when you are in contact, you are practicing. Even when you are in contact, you are practicing self-control. As a yoga of self-control. So it has got to, so here we are talking about not the contact part. Here we are talking about what is it that is driving the reaction. What is it that is driving the response? Not the reaction. What is it that is driving the response? Raga dveshana, the mind. Priyam, apriyam, ishtam, anishtam and all that. When that does, you lack control. How do you say you lack, when that happens, how do we say you lack control when that happens? Creation of further likes and dislikes. So when there is a further creation of likes and dislikes, you have lost control. To put it in a common sense way, I was explaining technically. If this technical way is very, very not so clear or appealing, it doesn't matter. Understand it in a common sense way. What is common sense way? Practicing control means likes and dislikes not. When the likes and dislikes are intensifying or developing more and more, you lack control. Are you able to follow? When the likes and dislikes is not developed, is not intensified, if the strength of the likes and dislikes is reducing, you are practicing self-control. Are you able to follow? Why do you do the self-control? Why will anybody do self-control? For the attainment of the goal. For the attainment of the goal, you have to practice self-control. Even in the world, people practice self-control for the attainment of the goal. Like, there is a, like remember this example that that Swamiji gives about the no Indian has won Wimbledon. He has reached the Wimbledon finals, and he's so joyful that he's reaching the Wimbledon finals. He's drinking the whole night. So even though he also likes to drink, he is practicing self-control for the sake of the ideal. Are you able to follow? In the world, the indulgences are postponed. In the world, the indulgences are postponed temporarily. Here, we are not talking about postponing indulgences. We are talking about eliminating it itself. That's the difference. And the difference, in the world, whenever we practice control, we postpone the indulgence. Okay, till I get it, once I win the trophy, I will indulge. Which means there is no self-control at all from the beginning, even though it appears to be self-control. Are you able to follow? When we talk about the yoga of self-control here, it is not about postponing the indulgence for attainment of any terrestrial goal. It is removal of raga dvesha itself is the goal. Removal of raga dvesha itself becomes the goal. Therefore, if removal of raga dvesha itself becomes the goal, what do you have to practice then? To exercise self-control. But this very control itself, but then we have misunderstood. Control means no contact. Contact pannada vitta, I have control, people misunderstand. To remove that, he says, it has got nothing to do with the contact, which is the response part. It is to do with the control or lack of control is more to do with the reaction part. One of the important things to understand in self-control is in relation to the reaction part, not the response, because the senses for its survival has to keep contacting. No, if you deny the senses, it will die. So self-control, their self-control looks like almost committing. Their self-control will looks like almost committing suicide. The senses have to contact the respective sense objects. It has to contact. Then where control comes in? Then what is control means? When it enters you, what drives you to respond? What drives you to respond? Is it the mind or is it the intellect? When the intellect is doing it, you are practicing. When the intellect is doing it, you are practicing self-control. So the intellect is not worried about the contact because it has understood. It is not afraid of the contact. It doesn't worry about the contact because it has understood that it has got nothing to do with the contact. Are you able to follow? Therefore, the yoga of self-control arises out of wisdom. What is wisdom? You will learn wisdom. In the knowledge self-control arises. Able to follow? Arises self-control, arises out of wisdom. Now, what is wisdom? All the explanation that we gave now is what wisdom is. When you have internalized it, you are practicing. When you have internalized it, you are practicing self-control. That is why Vedanta self-control has got nothing to do with the contact. It is to do with what is driving the contact. Because of lack of knowledge and because of lack of the development of the intellect, invariably what drives the contact? The mind itself drives the contact, and we lose control. Are you able to follow? That is why in a practical way, what do? We fix a time. What is fixing the time? I like to keep talking. Sometimes when it goes very good, you also like to keep hearing, listening. Both the speaker and the listener have lost self-control. Both have lost self-control. Are you able to follow? Now, what is self-control here? We start and we finish. For whatever reasons, we have fixed 6:45 is the starting time and 8 o'clock is the ending time. Though we are allowing the contact, what has decided the framework of the contact? What has decided the framework of the contact? The intellect has decided the framework. So when the intellect decides the framework of the contact, you are practicing self-control. Now, on what basis intellect decides the framework? Intellect decides the framework based on the goal. That is why here he puts it very in the yajna the confusing yajna. The yoga of self-control arises out of wisdom. This is the yajna of yoga of self-control. Look at the yajna pair. The yoga, this is the yajna. The yajna yoga of self-control is the name of this yajna. Which means we have already seen self-restraint, lingering and all that in the previous live. So self-restraint we have already seen. Having seen the self-restraint already, what is the self-control here? There it is in relation to, you can take up one sense, you can practice. Here you take up all the senses and you practice. When you take up all the senses and practicing it, what is the implication here? What is implied? When you have taken up all the senses and when you are practicing, means your wisdom is growing. You are growing in wisdom. Why? Because you know that you have 5 enemies. One enemy deal panna patadu. You need to deal with all the 5 enemies. Now you have taken up to tackle all the 5 together at the same time. If you have to tackle all the 5 together at the same time, where can you tackle them together at the same time? Mind lada. Therefore, it has shifted to the reaction part, the yoga of self-control. Therefore, it has shifted to the subtler part, the mind, the reaction part. One sense can be done individually. All 5 can be done together. When you are doing all the 5 together, it means you have gathered that much of conviction in the higher, you have gathered that much of capacity to deal with all the 5 together at the same time. All this is implied. See, most of the analysis here is based on the Anumana Shastra. It's all based on, you need to go on inferring it. It's a process of continuous inference. It's a process of continuous inference. When one sense you are doing, it means you have that, you can't do all the five together. When you are trying to do all the five together means you have individually done everything, got a fair idea of how each and you got a fair idea of how each and everything works, and now you know how to take head on all the five together at the root. At the root. What is the root? Where it dies is the root, as it were. Where it all converges, where it all merges together is the root. What is that point? That point is the mind. You can call it as mind, or you can call it as raga dvesha, you can call it anything. Now what happens? Intellect. Now that itself can create the response, that itself can drive the response. Yoga of self-control means the intellect deciding the response. The intellect can decide the response in two ways: no contact or contact. The intellect can decide in two ways. It can say don't contact, or it can say contact. Either way, whether you are irrespective of you contacting or not contacting, you are still practicing. You are still practicing self-control. This is the crux of understanding the mechanism of self-control. This is the crux of understanding the mechanism of self-control. Seriya? Now I will take clarification. Yes.
When the perception happens, how does the perception know that it has to go to mind or should not go to mind, it should go to intellect? How does it know?
Perception goes to the, what Ranjani is asking is, what gives knowledge to the perception to go to the mind or the intellect? Perception goes to the mind only. That's anatomy. Perception will go to the mind and it can trigger the response. Intellect will not allow that. That is why in Atma Bodha, verse number 11, 12, 13, it is established very clearly that the organs of the Jnanendriyas is in the mind, Karmendriyas is in the intellect. You have to refer that. In Atma Bodha, verses 11, 12, 13, this is explained. Once you have understood that, this becomes clear. That's why a deeper study of the Prakriya is very, very important. The perception can go only to the mind because that is where it ends. It cannot go anywhere. It goes only to the perceptions end in the mind. All the sense organs through the sense travels through the sense centers, and the sense center reside in the, where do the sense centers reside? The sense centers reside in the mind. Sense centers of Jnana Indriyas, not Karma Indriyas. Karma Indriyas reside in the intellect. That's why the intellect should respond. Because of the weakness, the mind hijacks the intellect and it will tell the intellect to respond in the way that it wants. Because of the weakness of the intellect, what the mind is doing, the mind is hijacking now. Even then, where does responses come from? Are you able to follow? Even then, where does responses come from? Responses come from the intellect only. But it is the weak intellect, the mind hijacks the weakness of the intellect to do what? What it wants. So for all practical purposes, we say mind is doing. Here we are discussing it at the core. Why we are discussing at the core like this? We are not generalizing, discussing here. We are discussing at the core because we want to understand the mechanism of self-control. When you want to understand the mechanism of self-control, you should leave the generalized notions and come to the very precise understanding. Yeah. So where does the perceptions die? Perceptions die only in the mind. It can respond directly. Now it can respond directly means it hijacks the intellect. And it will make the intellect to respond in the way that it wants. Why the intellect is weak? What makes the intellect weak? Because it has no knowledge. The intellect is weak because it has no knowledge. What is the knowledge it doesn't have? The knowledge of the choice. The knowledge of the choice. It doesn't have that. Which is what generally we call it as Vedantic knowledge, Shastric knowledge. Are you able to follow? The mechanism of self-control புரியறது தான் கொஞ்சம். Is it okay? When I say is it okay means think about it and get back. சரியா? Yes.
When you say that the intellect responds, how do you know that it is the intellect that is responding? Which means all the time I should have a schedule to remind myself that now only intellect is working. Without schedule, intellect will not work.
Now the question that she is asking is, how do I know it is intellect that is? How do I know it is intellect that is responding? How do I know that the intellect is responding? For which the answer is, it's a slightly painful answer, but it is if you have an intellect, you know that it is. If you have an intellect, you will know that it is the intellect responding. You will never have a doubt as to what is responding. Now we are having a doubt as to what is responding because there is no intellect. There, yeah. How does the intellect know? What are all the factors to know? Intellect will know. That part of it is left for the intellect to know. We will not give an answer and drive your thinking in the predetermined way. Intellect will know. Supposing if I say A, B, C are the indications, you will start looking for that indications, or you will start imitating those indications. Okay, because mind is such a cunning thing that it will imitate, and it will make you to believe you are doing it. Another, the answer is, if you have an intellect, you will know that intellect is function.
So schedule
as of now, what one can do, all my activities, if not all my activities, most of my activities should be scheduled, timed. In that you have some flexibility. In the academy, each and every minute is scheduled. Each and every minute is scheduled. With some, there are some buffers, but overall everything is scheduled. Like, for example, again, like a joke I keep telling personally in my life, like a joke I keep telling Swati. Now TV time. I have that half an hour TV time. From I finish my lunch by 1:30, I go up to sleep by 2:15. So half an hour TV time. Rest of the time, there is no trigger of wanting to watch it. So it means you have scheduled it. Are you able to follow? Otherwise, there is nothing to do. What? Start watching TV. So every activity of yours is scheduled. Wherever we are, we can do that. Every activity is scheduled. It means the intellect is so aware of it and directing it. Yeah. In the scheduling is what is known as the Smritis do this for us. In the form of Dharma Shastra, the Smriti does it for us. They give a schedule. When to fast, when not to fast, when to sleep, when not to sleep. Yeah. Even you have to go to the temple, they have fixed the time. Pradosham time, you have to go to the temple. You don't say, I have free time now, I go to the temple. You don't do that. In that time only you have to go to the temple. You have to schedule all other activities to go to the temple at that time. It means you are practicing. Self-control. Are you able to follow? Is it okay? Yeah. Subramaniam.
So when I observe the Namarupa world,
Yes.
and register in my mind,
Yes.
and the reaction that take place,
Yes.
if I stand apart saying that
Yes.
one Namarupa Anatma is
Yes.
interacting with another Namarupa Anatma,
Yes.
I have nothing to do with it.
Yes.
If I take that position, am I practicing Vairagya?
That is self-control.
Okay.
What Subramaniam is saying is, when the perception is happening, I am seeing one Anatma, one individual seeing one set of Namarupa, dealing with another set of Namarupa, and I have nothing to do with it. Correct? One set of Namarupa dealing with another set of Namarupa. If I am able to practice it, is this practice of Vairagya, self-control? Yes, this is what we are aiming to develop.
Right.
Actually, what we are aiming to develop, what we are trying to develop is to come to this point continuously. Adha Ramana kept on saying, find out who am I, who am I, who am I. Namarupa interacting with Namarupa, Namarupa interacting with Namarupa. I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do with it. I have what you are saying is what we are, which is what the true definition of self-control is, and we are aspiring to get to that. To get to that level only. The technical word is Anatma. One Anatma, Jiva, individual Anatma, all are synonyms. One Anatma is dealing with another Anatma. Or Anatma ko Namarupa irukku. Another Anatma has another set of Namarupa. So one Namarupa interacts with another Namarupa. Namarupama interact பண்ணிக்கிட்டும் I have nothing to do with it. I am segregating myself from Namarupa. This segregation from that I am withdrawing myself, I am pulling myself, I am segregating myself from this Namarupa is what self-control is all about in the true sense. Now we are discussing That is self-control, and we are discussing what is the path that we can adopt to get there. One thing is to say this is the definition. Another thing is the method that we have to adopt to get there. What is the method? When the sense perceptions happen, that nama rupa has entered. When sense perception has entered, that nama rupa has entered. Where is nama rupa in me? In my mind and in my mind. In my mind, this nama rupa. So, aduvum iduvum interact panna vidama, intellect monitors. Aduvum iduvum interact panna vidama, when intellect is monitoring, you are practicing vairagya, self-control. When you continue to do this, there is the subtler level, subtler practice. What is the subtler practice? The subtler practice is what Subramaniam said just now. Anatma interacting with Anatma. One Nama Rupa interacting with Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa only is dealing. Dealings, transactions happens between Nama Rupa and Nama Rupa. What is this then? Then who am I? I practice this witnessing. What is practicing witnessing means? I am Shuddha Sakshi Chaitanya, pure witnessing enlivener. Not the Nama Rupa. I am the Shuddha Sakshi Chaitanya, pure witnessing enlivener. That is the Abhyasa. This is the Abhyasa, Mahavakya. Abhyasa Mahavakya we say no.
I am Atma Brahma.
I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahman self-control. I am Atma Brahman self, because you have not yet become that. You are Abhyas. Yeah. Abhyasing no solla vanda. You are practicing. Yeah. You are practicing. Yeah. You can't say Abhyasing la solla mudiyadhu. You are practicing. What is the practice? I am Atma Brahma. Seriya?
Thank you.
Yeah, Yogesh Subramanian? Yeah, Narayanji.
Sir, is the same thing to another way to look at the same thing is the moment there is a reaction from one Nama Rupa to another Nama Rupa, you have to understand there is underlying Vasana.
Yes, yes.
And handle that Vasana, because you don't react to every Nama Rupa. Whatever
Yes.
Nama Rupa bothers you or triggers you, understand that there is an underlying Vasana to it.
Correct, very correct, very correct. What Narayanji is saying is, when all Nama Rupa doesn't bother, some specific Nama Rupa bothers, it means you have a specific Vasana for that. All those you see don't affect you. Only some Nama Rupa affects you. 100 human beings you see, all 100 don't affect you. Yeah. Or particular person affect you. It means that itself can be used as an indicator to practice self-control. For which I said yes, correct. Because of the reaction, the intellect is so alert here to say why this specific reaction happening only to this particular Nama Rupa, because of a particular Vasana, Raga Dvesha.
Correct.
Yes, particular Vasana. Therefore, it starts analyzing what is that Vasana and all that, and try to eliminate that. Correct. These are all the ways in which self-control is practiced. If self-control is practiced like this, you are practicing yajna number
5.
Yajna number 5, the reaction part. The reaction part. Then comes the response, which I am not going to take up today. The response part we will take up afresh. For I want to sit with this idea of what is the self-control itself is. Yes. Atma Brahma is at a level of practicing self-control. not all Nama Rupa is affecting me. Not all Nama Rupa is affecting me. Only a few affects me. Why that few affects me? Because I have developed a particular attachment to that. Because I have developed a particular attachment to that. All those dying in America doesn't affect me. As I am seeing the news that 80,000 are dead. I understand what death is. I understand that pain, but still nothing happens to me. It means that is not producing any reaction. Supposing somebody known to me is dead, what happens? The reaction itself is different. Why these two different reactions? Because there is no particular likes and dislikes. Here there is particular attachment. So these reactions the intellect uses to identify where likes and dislikes is and try to overcome that. When it makes that attempt, you are practicing self-control. Are you able to follow? Supposing if I say my neighbor to somebody, or my friend, or my distant cousin, my own brother or sister, my own children, the intensity goes on differing, no? The intensity goes on differing. For all practical purposes, what does it mean? One human being is dead. One human being is dead. For all practical purposes, what has happened? One human being is infected. One human being is dead. But doesn't see it like that. There is an affectation. That affectation is a very clear indicator of the underlying vasana. That is why we say intellect has to be alert to notice the reaction. The intellect has to be that alert, intellect has to be that sharp to notice this reaction. Most of the time what happens is this reaction is assumed to be correct, perfect, and affectation happens. So the alert intellect, what it does, it distinguishes this reaction and says, why am I reacting in this particular way for this? Why is this exaggerated? Why is this exaggerated reaction? You follow? A child passes exam. I'm happy. My child passes. There's a distinct reaction. A child failed. I understand what failure is. Not that I don't know what failure is. My child failed. The reaction itself is different. So this reactions to recognize this reaction, intellect has to be that strong. Otherwise, it will not even know how to register these reactions. And this intellect has to know that how to register these reactions. Vedanta comes and gives these indications for reactions. The affectation is the indicator. What is the affectation? The affectation of two, sukha and dukkha. Jumping with joy and sinking with sorrow, he says, no. Both means self-control is lost. Jumping with joy and sinking with sorrow means the reactions have overpowered me, has overtaken. Overtaken means the reaction impulsively comes as a response and I have no say on it. I have no decision making authority on it. I just get carried away by it. So what is self-control here? The yoga of self-control means the perceptions enters, registration of perception happens in the mind, the responses are decided by the intellect. Are you able to follow? The perception is registered in the mind. The mind by itself can respond. See, when we say mind by itself can respond, please understand, technically mind by itself cannot respond. For response happens through organs of action only. Karmendriyas mulyamana response varum. And where does this karmendriyas reside? Karmendriyas resides in the intellect. But we don't say intellect is reactive. Why? Because intellect is swept away. The intellect is hijacked. It is like, this particular portion is what is equated to the thief. That which the intellect is supposed to act, the mind takes it over and it does by itself. What should decide the response? In an ideal way, what should decide the response? In an ideal way, it is the intellect that should decide the response. So now we are not discussing about the perception, nor we are discussing about the response. We are discussing about the reaction. And where does this reaction happen? Reaction happens in the subtle body, which is of the mind and the intellect. Therefore, he says, yoga of self, the yoga of self-control. Atma samyama yogagnav. That's a Sanskrit word he uses. Atma samyama. Yama nale control nartham. Yama itself means control. That is why Lord of Death is Yama nu peru, because he is a controller. Yama itself means control. This Yama is samyama, well controlled. This control is not just the control, it is well controlled. In the samyama varanumna, what is the method? Niyama. In the colloquially, the Brahmin tradition, they say, Romba neyamama, romba nishtaya irukonu, they say, no? Niyama. Yama, niyama. This niyama has to be done. What does niyama means? Fixing a schedule. When you fix a schedule, you take necessary factors into consideration and you fix a schedule. And sticking to that means you are not allowing the mind to hijack the responses. It means you are practicing self-control. Why would a person do all this? For yoga. In the madri panna enna, what is kindled? Wisdom is kindled. When you self-control is the ahuti. Understand this. Ahuti is the control. What is kindled? Wisdom is kindled. There, restraint is kindled. Wisdom is not kindled. Restraint is kindled. Here, the restraint itself is what is offered here? The entire prana karma, indriya karmani and prana karmani, all that is offered here. What is kindled? All that is offered here means self-control. Self-control is the offering. What is the kindling? What is kindled? Wisdom is kindled. Wisdom is kindled. Wisdom is kindled can be taken as self-realization also. Wisdom is kindled as a relative also. Relatively means you have become, you are practicing. Wisdom is kindled means here comes Subramaniam's observation. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma is practiced, which is relative. Absolutely at the absolute level, wisdom is kindled means you have attained realization. So, Ajna number 3 is over, Ajna number 4 is over, Ajna number 5 is over. What are we practicing now? We are practicing self-control. We are practicing I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma is practiced. It means wisdom is kindled. With this, we conclude Ajna number 5. Then we move on to the responses. Adulalla technical lang kadayadu adula. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yogi yajna, swadhyaya jnana yajna la vandirthuna. We will not be discussing these technicalities, will be less there, because response means observation. It will be that much easy to comprehend. Carefully follow the connection. The response decide your level of wisdom. The response decide your level of wisdom. That's how it flows into 6, 7, 8, 9. Are you able to follow? Inga vandu the response nu sollitom. The response decides the level of, or the response is the indicator of how wise you are. What are the level of responses you can make? The level of responses you can make is Dravya Yajna you can do, Tapo Yajna you can do, Yoga Yajna you can do, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna you can do. And then ultimately he says, according to me, Arjuna, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna is the best. Follow? Now the reaction. The responses decide the intensity of how wise you are. What is an indicator? What you can sacrifice. What all you can sacrifice? Dravya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Yoga Yajna, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. This is how it connects to the 4. So, verse number 26, 27, 28 will cover the 3 aspects of life's activities: receipt, reaction, and response. So, next class we will discuss the response part of it. Seriya? Is it okay? Yeah.